What is up, crew? Welcome to another episode of Seek the Edge podcast with me, Kelsey Lensman, where our mission here, everything Seek the Edge, everything Expand Your Limits, is to challenge you outside of your comfort zone, mentally, physically, emotionally, so you can see and understand and take action towards the God-given potential inside. And today we are slinging with this episode. It is one that is going to inspire you, but it's also going to challenge you, which sounds very similar to our event in Columbus, Ohio, about a week and a half if you're listening to this as it drops. We had our biggest event yet. I was excited. Also, if I'm being honest with you, nervous isn't the right word, but just hoping and praying that it went well. And it was incredible. We had over 150 athletes. The youngest was 3 years old. The oldest, I think, was 68 years old. Just cute. On our Instagram, our Expand Your Limits Instagram, we had this little 3-year-old with her pink race bib running the young girls 1 miler. It made my entire day. But on that day, beliefs were broken. The energy was crazy. The women that stepped up either to the start line of that 5K or stepped onto the platform, they did it scared. They did it a little bit nervous, and they pushed past that point that they wanted to give up. And we all come across that, whether it's a physical event like a run or a lift, or it's just life. There's going to be a moment where it's like, man, I want to take the easy route. And the easy route might feel good intermittently. It might feel good in the moment, but the feeling of you being proud of you doing something you didn't think that you could do, or you stepping out of your comfort zone and finishing something that the you before wanted to give up on. The feeling of, man, I'm just proud of myself. That is something that nobody can take away from you. That is something that is going to light a fire within you, and that fire is going to continually burn. And it's going to make you think, okay, like what else is there, or what's next? And it's not that we're continually just needing to continue to look at next, but in my opinion, I also think God calls you to grow. He doesn't call us to stay stagnant. He calls us to grow and also be a light for other people. And that is exactly what is happening. And if you competed, I'm grateful for you. If you spectated, I'm incredibly grateful for you. Or if you also volunteered or looked from afar, this could not have happened without every single person inner working with one another to make that day what it was. And it was cool. I always send out a review for all our athletes and also volunteers, just to see that areas that we can improve and we can grow. And in one of the women, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but she said basically she felt change on a cellular level. And I'm like, talk to me a little bit about that. And she goes, not only did I get excited on that day and just feel transformed that day, like I felt like I can set different, bigger goals for me. I felt like the woman that walked in that day is different than the woman walking out that day. And I'm like, if I could bottle up that feeling, and if I could bottle up that emotion, that is exactly what we are trying to elicit. Is yes, it's physical, because I also think that you can't just read in a book or listen to a podcast to elicit that change. Like we have to do something. But it's also for you to show yourself, man, I can change, and what else is there out there for me? And that was just so exciting to hear. So as I dig into the topic, today's episode name is The Mountain Is You, and That's Not a Bad Thing. The Mountain Is You, and That's Not a Bad Thing. And there's this book. It's black. It has a mountain on it, a gold mountain. And it has been sitting on my bookshelf for months. If you are on YouTube and you see behind me, you see my one bookshelf. You can't see my other one, but it is full of books. And a couple months ago, I finished reading a different book. And so I was like, okay, well, what's my next read? And so I came into my office and I was looking at my bookshelf and nothing was really sticking out. And then all of a sudden my eyes went to this one book. It was black. And I said, "Oh, like I want to, like let me get that book." So I pulled it down, and as I uncovered it, if you see on YouTube, it said "The Mountain Is You," and it's by Brianna Weist. And I've heard of this book many times before. I had some clients that read it, but I never read it yet. And it's funny, as I looked at it, I'm like, okay, how good is this? I've probably read so many different types of this book. If you see, I have a ton of books back here that, not that they all say the same thing, but it kind of reiterates the same point just in different angles, which is when it's pretty true. When everybody says the same thing just in different perspectives, it's like, okay, like there's got to be some commonality through them. And so I asked myself, how different is this going to be? So instead of me listening to that voice, I'm like, you know what? No, be open to it. Read the book and see what is going to be there. So I took it down, went to my living room. Captain probably jumped on me because he always jumps on me when I'm on my couch. And I started reading the first 10 pages. And as I read the first 10 pages, it was communicating me to me on another level. And it was giving me more understanding of myself, of why I do certain things or why I don't do certain things, or what cycles are happening that I'm aware of or sometimes even not aware of in my life that's leading to the same outcome. It was like I was talking to myself as I was reading this book. And we can oftentimes think the biggest thing in our way towards that next level or towards a circumstance that we want is something external. It might be circumstances, it might be people, it might be time, like something external than you is blocking from where you can get to. I hear this all the time of like, if only my husband was on board, then I would be able to. Or if I moved to a different state that was a little bit more health conscious, then I would be able to. Like we can have a tendency to see everything external of, well, that's why I can't, or that's why I'm not, or that's why she can, but I can't. And so we think that biggest thing is external with us. But what if, I'm going to pose a question to you, what if the biggest barrier was you? And what if not only it being the biggest barrier is you, what if it was actually a gift? What if it was a gift for you to learn a lesson about yourself to get you to evolve and get you to reach that next level for you? And for me to communicate that, we often think the biggest thing in our way is external. Circumstances, people, things, time. And what if the biggest barrier is you? And what if it is a gift? That is the full encompass of The Mountain Is You, this book. And there is so much courage that lies within this. The courage to look inward, to see why you do the things that you do. The courage of what are you protecting yourself from, that it can feel like it's safe or feel like it's serving you. But for you to get to where you want to get to, I need to release what has served me before for me to step into what I'm capable of now. What if you get to surrender or release what's actually holding you back? And there's so much courage. I saw this on Saturday, May 17th. There was so much courage in women stepping up to the start line. So much courage in women stepping up to the platform. There was fear. There was a little bit of anxiety, and they did it anyway. That takes courage to do. Not just confidence, it takes courage to do. And courage doesn't just come from a platform or come from a weight that you lifted or a workout program that you completed. There's also an incredible amount of courage that nobody sees to do the work inward to elicit the change outward. There's so much beautiful courage that it takes what if life is a mirror? And what if I'm doing something that is contributing to the outcome that is not desirable? What is actually holding me back within that I can work on and work through and uncover for me to be able to take that next step outwardly? And it can be so tempting. Social media, I'm not going to bash it. Obviously, it's helped me. It helps us get our word out. It can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be a very distracting thing. Well, it will distract me from doing the work that I get to do inwardly to take myself or people around me to that next level. And so instead of distracting yourself from the outside, have the courage to do the work on the inside. And both lead, whether it's the platform, whether it's the inward work, both lead to the overall outcome of what we do, expand your limits. It's growth. The overall outcome of what I think is one of the biggest things in life is growth, is giving and is growth. They both lead to that ultimate goal. And I'm going to read a part of the introduction of this book that First it said comfort zones. I'm like, this book is expand your limits. But anyway, let me read into this. So this is directly from The Mountain Is You. It says, we know that nature is most fertile and expansive at its perimeters where climates meet, and we also transform when we reach the edge states, the point at which we are forced to step out of our comfort zones and regroup. Why it's called Seek the Edge. When we can no longer rely on our coping mechanisms to help distract us from the problems in our lives, it can feel as though we've hit rock bottom. The reality is that this sort of awakening is what happens when we finally come to terms with the problems that have existed for a long time. The breakthrough is often just the tipping point that precedes the breakthrough. The breakdown is often just the tipping point that precedes the breakthrough, the moment a star implodes before it becomes a supernova. Just as a mountain is formed when two sections of the ground are forced against one another, your mountain will arise out of coexisting but conflicting needs. Your mountain requires you to reconcile two parts of you, the conscious and the unconscious. The part of you that is aware of what you want and the part of you that is not aware of why you are still holding yourself back. That is directly from The Mountain Is You. And that is just the beginning, baby. There is so much beautiful gold within this. And before I get into the three main points of the mountain being you and how that's a gift and how that's not a bad thing, I do want to invite you, and it is completely free. I'm not selling you anything here. I believe in growth, and I believe there's times for physical growth, but there's also times for internal mental growth. And we've talked about this idea for a while, but it was never the right timing. And I wanted to make sure that it was truly a gift and a blessing to people in our community and what we can do to really elicit that growth within. So I want to invite you to our XYL first ever summer book club that we are hosting for our community, and everybody and anybody can be a part of it. We are going to dive deeply into this book, The Mountain Is You, together. Over the course of 8 weeks, we start next week, June 2nd, and then we'll go through the end of July with 1 week that we will take off. And it's completely free if you want to join. Each week we will have one chapter that we will read up until Tuesday. On Tuesday evening, if you can make it, we will have a call Tuesday 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you can join in. We have a packet that is discussion questions that sometimes the best thing that you can do is ask yourself better questions, is ask yourself questions that dig deeper. And there's discussion questions and activities that is going to elicit growth. On the other side of this book club, you are going to know more about yourself. You are going to know more about your patterns, your tendencies, and what you get to bring to light so that no longer has hold over you. And so our goal by the end of it is a renewed version of yourself. And I think this is beautiful timing with summer. It's not that we take fitness off, right? It's just who we are. It's what we do. But also it can be a beautiful time to slow down a little bit. And instead of the hustle and bustle of fall time, getting back to school, or if you have kiddos, it allows us to pause and to breathe. And when we can pause and breathe and really do that deeper work, it just aligns beautifully. And so our goal is by the end of it is we have more renewed version of ourselves. We can grow a little bit more. And that's why I want to invite you to it. So next week we start, if you want to join, go to expandyourlimit.com/book club. It'll just have you put in your first name, last name, email, so we can send you out the PDF. I'm not going to spam you with emails, but I do want to genuinely invite you to it, not because I believe in what we're doing, but I believe in the power of what first God can do through you, but then also second, what awareness that this is going to bring in your life. And you know us, yes, we're about physical expansion, but we're also about, and mostly about, expansion of you as a person, whether it be mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And this is going to be a beautiful supplement to everything that we do. So I want to invite you to it next week. You can get the book on Amazon, and you are more than welcome to come. You can have any friends or family be a part of it too. Those calls will be free, and we'd love to have you part of it. Okay, outside of that, one main point is the mountain is your mirror. The mountain is your mirror. Is there something that keeps showing up in your life that you might have even formed an identity around of? You might be like, Kelsey, I don't know what you're talking about. Listen to this. I'm a perfectionist. Is perfectionism something that continues to come up, or you've even rooted your 2 feet in the ground and say, I am a perfectionist? That's an identity. Is it staying busy? I know you might be me saying that, saying, Kelsey, girl, come on, you stay busy. I also do slow down a good amount. But is busy something that we put up on a pedestal that can be potentially distracting us from the inner work? Is it maybe a different person, but a very similar outcome in a relationship? This could be a personal relationship. This can also be a work relationship. Is the same situation arising, but in different people? Or do you feel like as soon as you get this far, then you self-sabotage your way back? That's all that this book is. It says transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery. I get this far and then I pull myself back. And not that you hit rock bottom, but I keep myself at that 75 degrees. No matter what the outward expression of it is, and I fully do believe this, is there is a reason for it. It is not just a random occurrence. It is not just it happened. There is a reason for it, especially when it's repetitive, especially when you have formed your identity around it. I've been doing a lot of personal identity work. There's a reason for it, just like how I believe from a health standpoint, there's a reason for everything that goes on in the body. It's not just, this random thing happened, or I was diagnosed for this, and I guess I'm just stuck like this for the rest of my life. There are some things that medications are needed for, and I'm a really big advocate for, but there's also a lot of things that we got to figure out the root cause of it, right? We got to figure out why it originated and why it's manifesting itself outwardly as this thing. Okay. I had one girl a couple of years ago say, Kelsey, I keep getting a lot of jawline acne. Like, do you know anything about that? And I said, hey, what's your fat intake for nutrition? What's your fat intake at? She goes, I tracked it for a couple of days. It's like 30 grams of fat. And I said, that is incredibly low for what you need for your body. And a lot of jawline acne is hormonal. And I said, hey, just try to increase your fat. Get it to maybe 50 to 60 grams of fat. And as soon as she did that consistently, her jawline acne went away. And so people could see this as, what's the outward expression? What's the jawline acne, right? I guess I'm just randomly getting it now. Or I guess, let me go here and here to get a prescription for it. When we need to ask a better question of where is it coming from? Why did this come about? Your body wants you to survive. Why is it trying to do this to either express itself outwardly or understand what is happening that's making this occur? Just like that, externally is what keeps showing up in your life. There's always a reason for it. And your external reality is a mirror of your internal beliefs or internal reality. My external mirrors my internal. My external situations outwardly mirror my internal internally. And if you've ever heard of this quote, and this can be a hard one to swallow, and I'm very aware of this, and this doesn't mean you take full responsibility, meaning that you created this, but this is the quote that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. You didn't necessarily need to cause it, but it is your responsibility to understand what to do with it. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And like I said, that can be a hard one to swallow. But when you start to see how life is conspiring together for your growth and for your lessons to be learned, some of the hardest situations you can look back in hindsight and feel like they are the biggest blessings. When I broke my leg off a four-wheeling accident when I was really young in high school, in that moment it was hard. In that moment it could feel like, why is this happening to me? Why did I go through that four-wheeling accident? Why, God, are you doing this to me? When really now, 12, 15 years later, I look back at that and I said, man, that was one of the greatest blessings in my life. And yes, it was hard to endure. And yes, it was hard to go through. But that was such a big blessing because it redirected me to the path that I'm on right now. You can also look relationally. Man, that decision I made or that relationship that did not go to the way that I wanted it to go, that was a hard situation. It was not easy. It felt really tough. But how did I grow as a result? What is that pulling up in me that I had to learn lessons through? And I'm telling you, it is tough to have that mentality, but any other mentality does not serve you. For you to have that victim of it's happening to me gets you nowhere. For you to have that victim mentality of, well, life's just happening at me, that gets you nowhere. That makes you a victim, and that makes you really see life negatively and completely takes any power or control away from you. More power than anything. It's like it just completely releases any gas pedal and it makes you put a brake on. So life will continually happen to you until you take the moment to look inwardly. The mountain isn't the obstacle, it's the teacher. The hard thing in your life right now, it is not the obstacle. It is not it happening to you. It is the teacher for you to learn a lesson about yourself or for you to grow within yourself. And like I said, these are tough topics to wrestle with because it can feel really good to either distract yourself from it or to not have the courage to look inwardly at it. Like I said, this does not mean you caused it, but it is your responsibility to work through it. And so I want you to think about your life is what mountains do you have? Meaning, what has been repetitive? What have you repetitively been challenged with? What have you repetitively felt like you've pulled yourself back from? What is a cycle that you find yourself falling back into? The mountain is not just a mountain. The mountain is for you to look inward, and it is a mirror to say, hey, I want you to grow a little bit. Like, come on. I'm not going to pull you, but you need to accept the invitation. That's number one. The mountain is a mirror. My external is a literal mirror of my internal. Point number two. Oh, I've wrestled with this. I wrestled with two things of this before. Is self-protection is a lie. One of the root causes, I'm a big root cause girl, but one of the root causes for why we do not do certain things or why we do things that don't serve us is out of solely self-protection or self-reliance. If I don't step on that platform or step up for that start line or sign up for that event, then I won't make a fool out of myself, self-protection. If I don't sign up for the event, then I might not fail, and then I won't look like a fool, or I might not feel badly about myself, self-protection. That's all it is. It is you operating and making decisions out of fear to self-protect. It doesn't mean that you get mad at yourself or be mad about why do I always do that. Give yourself a little bit of grace, meaning understand that it's coming from somewhere. It's not a bad mechanism. We all have this, but we have to shine a light on when are we trying to self-protect and when does it not serve us anymore? Self-protection. Or this, I've also seen this. If you make self-deprecating jokes about yourself around other people, so then they can't think it internally. Self-protection. People that are very self-deprecating, they can think it's funny, but what I hear is some insecurities coming out that if they can say it first, then it won't hurt them that other people might think it internally. Just self-protection. Okay. Once again, if you're like, man, that's me, don't get frustrated. Don't get discouraged. We all have levels of self-protection to ourselves that either A, we're not aware of, or B, we are aware of, but we don't know how to work through that. Every single human on this earth. And most of what we do is either out of that fear or self-protection. And remember, this will give you a little bit of exhale, a little bit of a breath. Is remember your brain, I talked about this 2 episodes ago, your brain is hardwired for safety and security. So anything that could be a threat or has been a threat, your first reaction many times is either to avoid or protect. Fight or flight or flee. To avoid or protect. And so it's not a bad mechanism that you have. It keeps us safe, right? It keeps us alive. If I did not have some type of self-protectionism mechanism in my brain, when a lion was running at me, I would just be like, oh, that's a cute lion. And then I would just stare at it and not move. And that lion would not think I'm a cute human. That lion would be like, yeah, you're breakfast for me, girl. So it's not an inherently bad quality, but it can go from a quality that serves us to a way that it plays out in our life to not serve us when we use that quality for anything and everything to try to self-protect. And for example, I have a friend that read this book just recently, and she shared with me a big realization. It was like an aha moment for her. She said that she would get really close. She noticed this pattern in her life. She would get really close with friends, be best buddies with them, hang out a lot. And she wasn't aware of this. But as she read through, she realized that as soon as she felt like they were going through a life change, this could be them having a baby, this could be them getting with a significant other, this could be them maybe being friends with other friends a little bit closer, she would distance herself from that relationship unknowingly. And as we dug deeper, she realized it was all out of self-protection. Instead of her thinking of she can't keep up with the relationships or man, this just always happens, she realized that she was doing this. She was slowly starting to distance herself out of self-protection so that she wouldn't be hurt. Does that make sense? So she would slowly start to ease her way out, thinking that it was either them or thinking that, man, this just always happens. Or maybe if you want to take it to the next level, creating a story that she just can't keep those relationships. She didn't say this, but that could also be that next level. And then you want to take that next level is identity, is I guess I'm just meant to be alone. Like there's levels to this. A story goes to a belief goes into an identity. So as she brought this to light, as she brought this, wow, this keeps happening to light, she realized, oh, it's all in just a story I'm telling myself. It is all in just a out of self-protection. And it's not a bad thing, but once again, it doesn't serve her. And so I always say, as you bring it to light, it has less power over you. What you keep in the dark and what you ignore, it will grow and it will take hold and it will have its control over you. What I bring to light, what stories, what beliefs, what identities that don't serve me, as I bring them to light, they have less power. You put yourself back in the driver's seat or God in the driver's seat instead of that negative pattern or that thing that no longer serves you. There's so much power in bringing it to light. And guys, this is why it's courage. It is easier intermittently at the beginning to keep it in the dark because you can ignore, you can distract. It can be so easy and it can feel good to just be like, nope, I'll dig into it later. But what they don't realize is just like compounding can happen for the good, compounding can also happen for the not good, the bad, right? So the longer that I ignore something or a circumstance or a quality or an identity or a belief that doesn't serve me, the longer I ignore it, it grows and it starts compounding and then it starts playing out in other areas of your life. And so this is a beautiful thing that she was able to bring to light. And now she gets to work through that internally and work on that externally with relationships. It's no longer a pattern that continues. It's something that she's able to bring to light to say, ooh, all right, this is an opportunity. Okay. It's not just a challenge. It's an opportunity for me to evolve and grow. And if we go a layer deeper, I've been really growing a lot in my faith. I've just been on fire for it. But if we go a layer deeper into faith, self-protection, or for me, self-reliance, that has been my biggest opportunity that I've been trying to really work through is not having to be self-reliant. But self-protection or self-reliance can also be the enemy's greatest scheme. Okay, the enemy or your mind will convince you that you need to protect yourself. You need to protect yourself because, oh, no, there's nothing bigger out there that can protect me. When really, God loves us so much, He loves us so deeply that we don't need to be in self-protection mode 24/7. His plans are greater than your plans. Right? We don't need to be in this hyper self-protection mode. And I'm not saying, as you listen to this, I'm not saying go play out in traffic. I'm not saying completely the goal is to lose any of that fear mechanism. We don't want to be fearless, meaning we still want to be smart with regards to our decisions, but we don't want fear to rule our life. We don't want that to be the self-protection mode from it. But when we can have faith that God has better plans for us, when we can have faith that God is going to lead us through the fire and He's there with us, I don't need to be in self-protection mode. I don't need to control and try to protect everything because we can lean into faith instead of that fear. And a lot of what is discussed for those that are big faith in their life, this book, The Mountain Is You, it doesn't talk about Jesus, doesn't talk about God, but it's almost the exact same principles from a faith lens, just not talking about it. And so it's so interesting as I've gotten deeper in my faith. It's like everything that I've learned and am learning from more of this like personal development world, it aligns so deeply. We want to take it to that next level to say, hey, yes, you can master you, but man, the one that created you ultimately knows every little detail about your past, present, and future. And so when I can surrender, when I can say, hey, God, I don't know what's happening right now, but I release whatever my outcome is, and I want to walk alongside you to grow, man, that gives you a sense of peace and stillness and serenity that isn't there for somebody that's trying to self-protect and self-control and be self-reliant. And that's really what I have grown in over the past 4 months that has led me to greater levels and gives me even greater vision. Man, it's so good. So number 1, the mountain is your mirror. Number 2, self-protection is a lie, and it will come out in many ways. Perfectionism, needing to control everything, self-sabotage, being busy. All it is self-protection. Okay. Last main point is climbing the mountain. You get to become the woman God created you to become. What is on the other side of climbing your internal mountain? The you God created you to be. Not just a stronger woman physically, but a more grounded, faithful, and courageous leader. He did not create us to have life happen to us. He created us for a purpose, on purpose, also for others. And so climbing it can be just as tough as a physical mountain. You're going to get tired. You're going to wonder if it's worth it. You're going to think that it's easier to stop. But just like summiting a mountain and seeing a view that you never saw before, you get to see a you that you've never seen before or thought was inside of you. And I know that might sound cheesy, but it's so true. You get to see the you that God created you to be. Not the you that is out of self-protection, not the you that is playing small because you don't think that you can. You get to understand and realize, man, there's more within me than I thought. And when I view these mountains as opportunities, not things that get in my way, it allows me to take that step forward. And that is why it is so important to have the courage to take that step. And what lies between you and the summit of your mountain are 2 things. Number 1 is courage. You have to have the courage to take that step. I did not say confidence. You do not have the confidence that you're going to get there, but you need to have the courage to take that step. I didn't have necessarily the confidence that I would finish 100 miles, but I had the courage to keep taking a step. That is bar none the most important courage. Secondly is community. Community inspires you to persist. I always say courage gets you to pursue. Community inspires you to continue to persist. When you have courage and community, you will be amazed about what you can conquer and what you can release within you. And so as we wrap this up, I want you to think about, what mountain have you been circling instead of climbing? What have you been dancing around, meaning what continues to happen in your life and you're like, oh, no, I'll get to that later. Or, hey, I know that's kind of a thing that I struggle with, but I am too busy. I need to do these other things. What mountain have you been circling instead of climbing? And what's one step you can take today, not to conquer it, but to become who you're meant to be because of it? These mountains are not obstacles, they're opportunities. These mountains are not things that get in their way, they're things for you to climb over and through. And so you don't need to join our book club as a first step. I don't care what first step you take. I selfishly think joining the book club might be a really good first step for you. And I want to encourage you to be a part of it and join our community with it. You don't need to train with us. You don't need to coach with us. You don't need to ever having come to an event with us. But you need to have the courage to take a step. And you need to have the courage to be able to be vulnerable and open with this stuff. And I'm so excited to really dig in and grow over these next 8 weeks. So if you want to come, it's expandyourlimit.com/book club and join us. It is literally free. We want to challenge you, just like I said at the beginning of this podcast, to take a step out of your comfort zone so you can see and understand and take action towards the God-given potential inside. And that requires not just climbing up, but going deeper. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Love y'all. Obviously, message me if you have any questions, and I'll see you at the book club on Tuesday.